Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your libertarian car guy, and I'm going to do a quick little walk around here of this extra cute little Fiat 500. It's not exactly the color that I would have chosen. I look a little bit silly being a dude, and not just a dude, but a pretty big dude in a pastel Easter egg blue with white interior Fiat 500. But that aside, I'm a big fan of this car, and guess what? The interesting thing is, as I was doing my my background research before starting to write about this thing, it is starting to be appreciated by other people. Did you know that Fiat is actually now selling more of these than BMW Mini is selling of the Mini Cooper hatchback? In fact, for the last 3-4 months, Fiat has been selling about 200 more cars a month than Mini has. That's pretty interesting. It took Fiat a number of years to get to that point. Mini, of course, got to the market first with their micro car, and that gave them a huge advantage because in America, most people like big cars, big SUVs, big crossovers. So there's kind of a limited market for really small cars. Mini got there first, and of course, Mini is established being part of the BMW empire, whereas Fiat has been out of the market since the late 1970s and has had to start from scratch, and in particular with regard to its reputation. A lot of people think Fiats are crappy cars because of the legacy of Fiat back in the 70s, and that's absolutely true, but the truth is that all cars back in the 70s were crap. I love 70s cars, but they're crap compared to modern cars. So Fiat has had to rebuild its image, whereas all the other manufacturers have had the past 3-4 decades to do that, and they've had to do it in a much shorter time frame. They came back to the US market in 2012. Anyhow, they've made great strides. It's starting to rain, so I'm going to back up here a little bit, particularly against Mini. And the reasons for that actually are pretty evident when you come to look at it. They're both small. The 500 actually is significantly smaller on the outside than the Mini, but it's more space efficient. If you look at the numbers, the Fiat actually has a slightly roomier back seat, and it has slightly more space in the back for the cargo. See if I can show you this before everything turns awful. I'm 6'3", I'm 200 pounds, I've got a couple of buddies who are my size and bigger, and we can all fit in this car, if you can believe it. Not super comfortably, but look, I mean, there actually is some legroom there, some space between here and there, and just to give you some sense of that, if you go look at a new Ford Mustang, which is a much larger car, there's literally no space at all between the back of the seat and here. And right now this seat is positioned, the driver's seat I mean, is positioned for me, a 6'3" driver. Here, I'll get in and show you. So here I am, and here are my legs, and I'm 6'3" and 200 pounds, and there's ample room inside this car for me. And as an aside, look at the very cute color contrasted interior and some of the retro touches. Very cozy. But anyway, let's get back to the other objective stuff. This car costs $6,600 less to start than the Mini Cooper hatchback. I like the Mini a lot, but the Mini does not have a Mini price. You option one of those things out, buy the John Cooper Works performance upgrades, and it's over $30,000. I think it's $31,000. Now, to give you some sense of perspective on that, you can get the top-of-the-line 500 Abarth, which has the high-performance turbo engine. It's got all the brake and suspension upgrades. It's got all the trim upgrades on the inside, and that car is still just under $20,000. And that means that it costs less, the Abarth version of the 500, than the base trim version of the Mini Cooper, which comes with a little 3-cylinder turbo engine. Anyhow, so no wonder people are cluing into the fact that they can pick up one of these Fiat 500s for not much at all. You know, $14,000 and change for the base pop trim, and that's sticker, and you can dicker. So probably you could get away with one of these things, I don't know, for probably about $12,500 or $13,000 or so, brand new. You know, good luck going to Mini and getting away with the Mini for anywhere near that amount of money. So that's pretty cool. As far as deficits and downsides, let me get out if it's raining, keep this thing going. The chief downside, as I see it, well, there are two. One is that despite it being a really little car, and having a really little engine, just a 1.4 liter engine. The gas mileage is merely good. It's not fantastic. It gets about 33 on the highway, 27 in the city. And again, that's good, but there are a lot of cars that are a lot bigger that get 40 on the highway or better. So Fiat does have a little bit of work to do there with the gas mileage situation. The other thing, and this is entirely subjective, your mileage may vary and the market may have spoken, but Fiat is no longer offering the Abarth's turbo engine in the lower trims. If you want that power upgrade, you have to go out and buy the Abarth. Not that there's anything wrong with the Abarth by any means. I love the Abarth, but the Abarth is loud, and it's not just loud cosmetically. It's got a really, really loud exhaust. In fact, it's as loud or louder than my ancient 70s Kawasaki two-stroke triple. It's really loud. Some people may or may not like that. Previously, you could get the performance of that engine, or most of the performance, in the more demure pop and lounge trims, and without the straight pipe exhaust. So that's just one of the very few downsides. Otherwise, I dig this car. I like it a lot. It's the kind of car that I would buy. In keeping with the great sage wisdom that it is much more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. And this thing isn't slow either, particularly with the manual transmission. You can frogger this thing through traffic and through all the gigantic Leviathan SUVs and crossovers that are driven by cell phone-addled chatty Cathys. But the main point is you can pick one of these things up for not much more than the price of a used compact sedan or coupe that's a lot less interesting visually, a lot less fun to drive. I'll have more up at epautos.com shortly. Thanks for viewing, and we'll catch up with you again soon.